The government shutdown is causing a lot of different problems for millions across the country, and people here in Colorado are wondering if they might get some relief when it comes to their SNAP benefits. And for people looking to fly out of Colorado, travelers are anxiously waiting to see whether their flight is on the chopping block. And as you're waking up this morning, it may feel a little chilly, but don't get too comfortable if that's your thing. We're going to be heating up in the next couple of days. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lawrence Cafidi. Let's send things on over to Weather Impact Team meteorologist Keely Chalmers. Keely, it's feeling pretty chilly this weekend, and then we warm things up during the week.
Yeah, for the work week, right? For the weekend, though, temperatures certainly chilly, below freezing this morning. We're going to be in the teens in some areas across the plains tomorrow morning, with highs in the 40s tomorrow. And then, yeah, big shift. But get ready for a not just chilly, but a windy weekend out across the plains. As you can see this camera looking out over Fort Morgan shaking. It is going to be shaking that camera throughout the afternoon. Those winds are going to be pretty strong across the plains today, and that fire danger will be increasing as a result of it as well. Temperatures finally 40 degrees in downtown. We're in the mid to upper 30s around DIA and around Denver. Current temperatures mainly 30s and right to 40 degrees at 9 News. 47 though in Greeley, 30s in the high country, 39 degrees in Grand Junction. Those winds again very gusty, 45 mile per hour wind gusts, and stronger in the foothills. Also very strong winds. As you can see, Greeley 23 mile per hour winds out of the north right now, 24 in Wiggins. That'll be the trend. We're going to continue to see those storms moving through. Not a lot of precipitation, just a little bit of light snow, and we'll be in the 50s by noon. Lots of sunshine.
All right, Keely, thank you so much. The government shut down now in its 39th day, the longest in American history, and this morning it doesn't seem to be any closer to ending. Senate Democrats blocked a Republican-led bill that would have paid federal workers who are not getting a paycheck during the government shutdown. The vote was 53 to 43, with 3 Democrats voting with Republicans. Democrats say they won't back a funding plan that they believe only helps some Americans, while leaving others to feel the pain of a shutdown. They've offered to approve a bill to reopen the government if Republicans agree to a 1-year extension of Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies. But Republicans say they will not negotiate over the subsidies until after the government is open. New numbers from the Labor Department show fewer federal workers filed for unemployment last week, but claims are still high because of the government shutdown. The data shows more than 7,000 workers filed initial jobless claims for the week ending November 1st. These are new applications for unemployment. That number is actually down from the more than 8,000 that were filed the previous week. But continuing claims from workers still out of a job have now surged past 30,000. That number is up nearly 10,000 from the week before. Officials note that some state data is still missing, so the totals might not be complete yet. One of the biggest impacts of the government shutdown is the mass grounding of flights all across the country. More than 1,000 flights have been canceled nationwide. DIA saw 75 of its flights canceled yesterday, and as of last check, 60 flights have already been canceled for today. The FAA ordered flight reductions at 40 of the country's busiest airports. The order cuts back on about 4% of flights, with plans to ramp it up next week. The FAA says the order is to improve safety and reduce stress on air traffic controllers who've been working without pay since the shutdown. Most of the canceled flights are domestic, often with connections to smaller cities. One woman in Colorado was set to go to Minneapolis today to see a concert with her father until her initial flight got canceled.
My dad is 76 years old. Like I said, he has Parkinson's. He made these plans 3 months ago. It's the first time I've ever been able to go to a show with just him.
Was able to book a flight to Minneapolis for later today, so hopefully she's not one of those 60 flights at DIA already canceled. DIA's largest carrier, United, says the cuts won't have a massive impact on its operations. United says 21 of their flights were canceled yesterday. A United exec here compares it to a mild snowstorm's impact for perspective. During a slightly bigger storm, the airline sees 50 to 55 cancellations. United said the airline's main focus is trying to cancel flights strategically to limit impacts.
For example, like Colorado Springs, we run 12 flights a day. We're running 8 flights a day now. Over 50% of those customers that were affected are already rebooked and getting to their destination within 4 hours of their original time.
United is choosing not to cancel any international flights or flights flying from hub to hub. All of the canceled flights is driving a rush to rent cars. Hertz Car Rental reported that its one-way rental reservations have jumped more than 20% over the past few days compared to last year. The CEO of Hertz joins the other calls urging Congress to just get this thing figured out already, saying, quote, "Every day of delay creates unnecessary disruption." But U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said even when the shutdown does end, it's still going to take time for things to get back to normal. At the same time, the Supreme Court has granted the Trump administration's request to temporarily block SNAP food benefit payments. The Trump administration had lost in lower courts and was ordered to pay out November benefits in full. Some states had already leaders delivering those benefits. Here in Colorado, state officials submitted a request for SNAP payments to be loaded onto EBT cards. If approved, benefits would have gone out as soon as today. 42 million Americans rely on the program, including 600,000 people here in Colorado, half of them children. While the back and forth over SNAP benefits plays out in court, demand at food banks across Colorado is rising. Access to healthy food is important for a lot of reasons, of course. For those living with chronic disease, it goes beyond just nutrition. It can be a part of your health care. About 600,000 Coloradans, like we said, depend on SNAP to keep food on the table. And the reality is, what we eat can play a major role in preventing and treating chronic illnesses.
I'm a type 2 diabetic. You need the energy levels of, your breakfast, your lunch, your snacks, your dinners. We have to come together as a state and make sure that we have the resources for the people in our community.
According to the CDC, food insecurity not only increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, it also makes it harder to manage. Jeffco Public Schools hosting a district-wide food drive later this morning. They call it Jeffco Feeds Jeffco, a response to the delayed SNAP benefits that are impacting 22,000 families in just that one district. That includes 13,000 children. You can head over to Jeffco Stadium today in just a little bit, less than an hour from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Nearly 200 volunteers will be accepting non-perishable food. Canned meats, fruits, vegetables, and dry goods, plus kids' snacks, diaper supplies, and hygiene products. We plan on sending a crew to that Jeffco food drive later today, so we'll show you the turnout when you watch 9 News this evening. DIA has a stocked food pantry to help the 1,800 federal workers there who are still on the job but not getting paid. The airport is welcoming donations of non-perishable food, toiletries, baby supplies, and pet food. Airport leaders say they plan to keep the pantry open and stocked with donations as long as the shutdown continues. Another way to help feed Coloradans right now is you can donate to the 9 Cares Colorado Shares food drive. We're teaming up with King Soopers and local food banks to raise money for Coloradans facing food hunger. Our goal is to raise $750,000 this year, enough for more than 2 million meals for people in need. You can scan this QR code right here to get to our donation page. You can also donate when you're checking out at King Soopers.